Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the National Press Club and today's National Australia Bank Address. It's a pleasure today to actually be able to welcome back both speakers. The last time Malcom Turnbull was here, it was at the peak of the campaign on the referendum for the Republic, and when he was described as a merchant banker and potential politician. He's now achieved the potential on politics, and he's very much a politician. Brett Kelly was here because he'd just done a rather audacious thing at the age of, I think, 22, of rounding up a whole bunch of very prominent Australians and asking them what they stood for and how they'd got where they were. And he was launching a book based on those interviews. Since then, he received a letter from somebody a young Australian who read that book, borrowed it from a library, and said, yeah, it's very interesting. What are you doing now? What are you doing about it? And he thought, well, I'm not doing much, so I'd better do something about it. And so he's produced a second book. He was asked by that young reader, what have you done since then, and what impact has the process that you went through to bring the book to fruition and the ideas and experience that you gained from the interviews themselves have had on your life and career? Well, he's built on that. He's looked at the life and career of quite a number of people, and he's produced a second book. The first one was called Collective Wisdom. The second one is called Universal Wisdom. And that one today is going to be launched shortly by Malcom Turnbull, who will, after that, introduce Brett to you to have his say about the things that the future holds and the needs for leadership in Australia. But for a start, please welcome Malcom Turnbull.
Thank you very much, Ken. Endeavouring to draw moral lessons and wisdom from the lives of great leaders is a very long tradition. I'm not sure whether Brett Kelly's latest book, Universal Wisdom, will be as widely read as Plutarch's Lives, and it's not as salacious as Suetonius's Lives of the Caesars, which also continues to sell well. But certainly Brett is continuing in a very fine tradition, and he has assembled a collection of some of the most influential men and women of our times and sought to draw some common threads of wisdom from their often very tumultuous lives. I was saying to Brett earlier, just as we were having lunch, that the life in this collection, which he'll talk about himself in a moment, that gives me the greatest cause for reflection is that of Nelson Mandela, a man against whom so many wrongs were committed, and then when he emerged from nearly 30 years of imprisonment, forgave all his enemies and united a divided nation. A remarkable example of forgiveness and of love of his fellow men and women and of his country, overcoming the natural human instincts for revenge.